Hello, hello. It's time to sneak a stream in. Hold on, let me put up a bet because we need to have a bet on the Holy War. Put 2 minutes on it. Man. Alright. Once again, this is what we're looking at. Final month of the regular season. USC is finally back. They might win the Big Ten. They got a decent... Or, well, they got a 1-game lead, but they got a chance to stretch it out even more because they got a matchup with Michigan in this stream, who's the second-place team in the Big Ten. Gonzaga's back after dropping out very early in the year. Their bet game's either the first or the second game, so I'm just going to wait till it expires. No one believes in the Cougs. Man. You hate to see it. How's everyone doing today? Before we get into this, I'm going to try to make this a quicker stream, get some pace to it. Yeah, it's got 10 seconds on it. Okay, people put some money on BYU. Good, good, good. Alright, bet's over. Chance is sick. Damn. Get well soon. Alright, first game. ACC. We got Louisville beating Pitt by 21 points. I wanted to like Pitt more this year, but they're kind of like the Kentucky of the ACC. I just feel like they have a lot of talent, but they're prone to some really ugly performances. Mason Cameron and Trey Smith both had double-doubles for the Cards. Jason Pincinot had 16 points for the Panthers, but no one else on the team was effective at all scoring the ball. And I hesitate to call Pitt mid because their roster is good, but not a great look. That EKU loss, they still it doesn't seem like they've recovered from it even to this day. All right, that's all I got to say about this one. Shame on Pittsburgh. If they keep playing like this, they might not survive to the end of the season in the polls. All right, next game, our bet game. It lived up to the hype. The Utes go into Provo, get the win over BYU. First time the Cougars have lost in quite a bit. They're on I want to say a 9 or 10 game winning streak. Utah covers the spread and wins the game outright by 3 points. Murphy Preslack, transfer from Creighton, was the leading scorer in the game with 17 points, 5 boards, and 4 stocks. Dustin Metter had 14 points and 2 steals. Blair Tawil, one of the top prospects in this upcoming draft, had a very good game, 16, 8, 3, and 6 blocks. But the Utes kind of a superior Voltron, if you will. All right, our next bet will be Michigan at USC. It's a big game in the Big Ten. Trojans actually coming into this one favored by 3.5 points. Despite the polls loving them some Michigan this year. Wolverines are number 7 while the Trojans are still lagging behind at number 18. Put 2 minutes on that one. 3.5 point favorites for USC. All right, next game. Speaking of the Wolverines, ooh, the lead up to that USC game, that's not a great look. Yikes. Washington teed them up, cracked them over the head, 20-point drubbing to match them in the Big Ten standings. Kimberly Giles with 13, 3, and 6. Ramona Johnson with 11 and 6. Not any like super huge performances, just good defensive effort from Washington. Darius Gamble had 10, 6, and 3 as well. He was the best of a pretty brutal performance for Michigan. Yeah, for real. Ann Arbor all the way to Seattle. It's pretty brutal. But hey, you know what? I'm happy for Washington. You know, in the start of the Big Ten play, I was starting to question if this team was just coming down to earth big time from last year. Yeah, I agree. Needed that one for the morale. As for Michigan, they got a quick turnaround. They got now they're 2 games behind USC because they won their game. So now if they want to catch them, they're gonna have to win that game. Next game. Speaking of the USC game that they won, playing against Indiana, who's now, I think this is their 4th straight loss, losing at home to USC. 15-point loss. Jesus Gomez and Gao Shuren. It's been a duo for the Trojans. They've been cooking. Samir Patrick had 22, 6, and 3 steals for the Hoosiers, but looking like this team's starting to run out of gas. I was skeptical when they were as high as they were in the polls. A lot of Big Ten teams I was skeptical about. Purdue's team, I was like, they're probably not great. Some great team. That turned out to be kind of true because they're not really anything crazy in the Big Ten slate. Same thing with the Hoosiers. I had those fears for Washington, but they've seemed to right the ship. USC though, they're taking advantage of all this chaos in this conference. As long as they keep it going, rest of the way, they should be the 1 seed in the Big Ten. But if they can beat Michigan, I probably just about seals it for them. Next game. Want to highlight this one. The rematch in the regular season sees Wagner defeat Central Connecticut. Despite a double-double from Spike Jennings, JT Redfield and Bradley Ingram both had decent games. I mean, for Ingram's stats, it's a little underwhelming by his standards, but they get the win. Wagner 1 win shy of 20 wins on the season, yet again. It's not looking good. I don't even see who betted on what. Let's see, we had Heel on Michigan and Corey on USC. But yeah, Wagner tightens their grip on first place in the NEC. CCSU, kind of a, they just can't take that. They never took that next step as a team to like actually get to the top of their league. So they're probably gonna have to be a 3 or a 4 seed, I imagine, and try to get their March Madness going the hard way through the conference tournament. All right, next game. Oh, what's this? Another totally uninspired Kentucky performance? No, that would never happen. Oklahoma takes them down in Lexington. Miles Stillebauer with a double-double and 2 blocks. Craig Martin at 13 points for the Sooners. Jalen Reddick's had an okay game, but same old. The offense here is just holding this team back so much. They're still in the top 20, which I think is kind of laughable, but I mean, they're probably going to make the tournament. They haven't been an awful team, but man, they're frustrating considering the level of talent they have on their roster. They are. It's just frustrating at this point. I just look at them. It's like, oh, you guys didn't score over 60 points again. It just barely got it this time because Reddick's was on point. All right, next game. Big time SEC clash, and Vanderbilt finally tastes defeat for the first time in a while. They kind of got clocked here by Mississippi State. I don't know why I didn't think this team was going to be a top 25 team. Talking about Mississippi State. Nah, I'm not really sure why I doubted them. Riley Wallner had 23 points on 9 of 15 shooting. Efficient game for him. Santiago Kenna with 15 and 5. Randall Sellards was good for the Commodores. The rest of the team was shut down pretty well. Vanderbilt, not so fast for running away with the SEC. Mississippi State says they're not done yet. Top 10 clash goes to the Bulldogs. I mean, even if Mississippi State was good, I didn't peg them as a top 5 caliber team, but they've kind of been that. I'm willing to give them that credit. And then, oh my God, Pacific just did the thing that Santa Clara can never seem to do. Pull an upset. St. Mary's taking L number 3. Fox Damo and Antonio Cortez were the leaders here. Just an uncharacteristically bad offensive game from the Gales. Idris Kamara was okay, but Pacific just does just enough to score an upset. Keep St. Mary's from going unbeaten in conference play. I keep saying it, man. Pacific's got a good coach, and it pays dividends sometimes. All right, next game. Oh, the bottom part of the Mountain West got a little bit of fight in them. GCU. I know they've kind of like dispersed the wider doubts that I had about them, but The problem with Edwin Gordon over Cassius Pritchett is I do not think UC Davis wins this game if Cassius Pritchett is the guard here still. Edwin Gordon's just a bit more limited offensively. He can affect the game defensively because he's a big time like stock getter, but yeah, if the offense isn't working, like teams can take advantage of that. Eddie McCarthy and Shane Kinsler, both pretty good for the Aggies in this game. Rayshon Evele was the leading scorer for the Lopes, but they lose on the road. May their ranking be in peril? We'll find out. Next game, it's an Akron checkup, and it's them winning. I mean, they didn't kill Ball State. I don't think the Cardinals are a very good team, but the fact that it was even this close is pretty good for them. Greg Frost doing what he's been doing all year. Tucker Harrison was pretty good, double-double and 4 blocks. That's what you'd like to see from him. Alvaro Alcantas with a double-double for the Cards. They just exist right now. Akron's still at the top of the conference, although Central Michigan is still hot on their heels, so got to keep their guard up. Next game. Right after Washington gets a great win over Michigan, they get got in Iowa City by the Hawkeyes. And the crazy part is Zach Farmer was actually held in check, but Sayers and Everton stepped up enough to help Iowa get this win. Jaden Birch, a lot of players that don't really like play well, played really well, and the guys that you'd expect to play well didn't play great. Besides like Sayers, he's been consistent for the Hawkeyes most of the year. Yeah, these time zone travels are cooking these teams. Yeah, I just look at this conference like USC is just taking full advantage of it. Like all the teams that you'd want to see in the race are just like they're dropping games. All these like mid-tier teams that are good but not great. Say, I don't really think the national champion's coming out of the Big Ten this year. I just don't really get that vibe. It's a little too much cannibalism. Speaking of, man, I remember when Purdue was just they were the sweetness early in the year. Big Ten slate has not been kind for them. They're still super high up in the polls, which I think is really funny, despite being 500 in their conference. Illinois, team we don't hear much from these days. Still trying to find the right coach. They get a win here over Purdue by 2 points. Darian Smith and Winston Green were both good in this one. Smith had 18, 7, and 5. Dirk Eichhorn had a double-double for the Boilermakers, but it's a tired point at this juncture, bringing up how sad they're sort of like just drift down into just being a mediocre Big Ten team. Especially their fan base was probably going crazy because they were killing people in the non-con. They were number 1 in the nation for a handful of weeks. Hey, our bet game. It was a good one. And USC wins the game, but Michigan does cover the number. So that means Heel's gonna get his money. And sure enough, Gomez and Shurin The usual suspects for USC. Shuren, for his credit, did not miss a shot in this game. Along with 8 points and 6 assists. Hunter Hudgens actually was the leading scorer in the game, 17 points, 13 rebounds. Michigan couldn't find that last bucket to put them over in this game. So USC finds itself with a 3-game lead in the Big Ten standings with 6 games to go. Enviable position. Next game. Oh man, tough week for BYU. 2 close losses for them. As the Baylor Bears vault themselves back. I believe they're either first place or I don't know, I think Utah's tied with them right now. I believe they're 12-2 as well at this point. I don't think they are. I don't know what had happened to them at the start of the year, but that ain't the same team as this one. Nolan Scott had a great game, 18-7, 3 and 3 blocks. Val Kunthavong, been a very consistent player for the Bears. Gave him 15 and 3 blocks in this game. Dan Smith had 25 and 5. But Baylor did a pretty good job keeping Blair Tawil from flipping the game. Credit to them. They are tied for first in the Big 12. I've been waiting a long time for the shoe to drop for Baylor, but it just hasn't done it. I think they might be real until further notice. I don't know what their postseason prospects are looking like, but probably going to be a tournament team. I don't know what kind of seed they'd be getting. Probably like a 5-6 seed. Season ended right now. Guess they've been playing so well recently. All right, next game. Oh man, Sam, look at what they did. Someone tell me Sam's here. Sam! They did it! Man, if this doesn't prove to you that Virginia's mortal, I don't know what will. They're simply just another good team. Jalen Vaylor and DeRussell Morris. Both with 16 points apiece. Morris had a double-double with 10 rebounds. Vaylor had 8 boards and 6 assists. Cedric Carnish was the leading scorer in the game with 21 and 16, but he turned the ball over 6 times. That was definitely a factor late in the game. And Cal pulls a pretty good win out. Proved to 8 and 6 in conference. They aren't a basement dweller anymore. In fact, they might be top half of the conference now. Special stuff. Alright, and that is the end of our first week. Here's what we look like now. NC State, back in the top 25. They had that bit of a losing streak, but they seem to have recovered. Back into the polls again. Grand Canyon holds on at number 25. USC only beats 2 ranked teams and only move up 1 spot. It's kind of crazy. Gonzaga's up 6. UTA is in the top 10. Man. Xavier up to number 8. Creighton back up to number 11. St. Mary's falls 5 spots for the loss. Tennessee actually gets ahead of North Carolina here. I don't know why they did that. Utah back up to number 3. UNC and Duke both in the top 10. They should. I don't know why I don't know why the polls are being so stingy with them. I don't understand the hate. Yeah, finally. That game's going to be covered in the next stream. All right, first game of the next week. We got Richmond losing for the first time in a long time. Fall victim to the Duquesne Dukes, who are not a great team, so that's kind of a tough loss, I'm not gonna lie. Jackson Outson with 19 and 7, Isaac Long with a double-double and 3 steals. Dennis Green had 16 points. Just not a good enough game from the Spiders. Dukes didn't really like shoot some crazy percentage, they just kind of outplayed them. But they still have a 2-game advantage in their conference, so it's not over yet. Next up, more ACC cannibalism. Miami Hurricanes get a win here over Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Jan Kaiser has just kind of become the offense here for Miami. Man, Dinglechud used to kind of be feared, but I'm starting to think he was just a product of playing with other good players. The Shaquem Wyatts and the DeMondre Thompsons of the world allowed him to be more than what he is. David Beasley's he's been Georgia Tech's best player, I'd say, this season. Him and Tyrese Bell have been trading the honors for leading scorer most games. If I was on the committee, I'd probably have Miami in. But they're near the end of that. Of those at-large bids. Georgia Tech been dropping a few games recently. Coming down the stretch on a skid. Don't want to see that. Next game. Speaking of another team on the skid, fucking Pittsburgh, man. Ugh. But I mean, hey, NC State is they've recovered. 2-point win on the road. Kind of leaving most of the riffraff behind in the ACC. They think they're a little bit better than that. I don't think anyone's gonna catch UNC. They have like a 4-game lead in the standings, especially now that Virginia lost again. Sensa, hell nah. Yeah, Uwawa was great in this game. Double-double and 3 assists. Gage Birueta had 18 and 5. Carson Rutkowski with 19 points for the Panthers. I had high hopes for Pitt. They just aren't coming through on that. Next game. Oh. Now this is an upset. TCU randomly off the top rope Man, Baylor loves this. They're in full control right now. Unless they lost too. That'd be kind of crazy. Carson Sweeney, perfect game from him shooting the ball. 18-5-5. He was huge in this upset. Eric Park had 13 points. Ty Roback was good, 26-5, but I think the key was Andre Wicks was not effective scoring the ball. TCU had a guy not miss a shot, so that helps. Utah only their third loss of the year, but I have a feeling they will be punished a little bit for this one. Can't really defend them all that much. Next game. Man, I could have sworn we seen a slide just like this earlier. Mizzou beats Kentucky at home. Chad Greer and Patrick Krutz. Good game for Greer. He's been a good player for Missouri last couple of years. Isaac Perry had 17 points for the Wildcats, but same old, same old. This team is still ranked somehow. Kentucky's like crack cocaine to these pollsters, bro. They won't quit it. Next game, top 5 matchup in the SEC. Texas A&M gets the win on the road in Starkville. Guard duo was big in the win. Montrell Batiste had 21, 7, 5, and 4 threes. He was the real hero. Ronan Cortez, another solid game, 12 and 8. Wasn't asked to score the ball a lot. Antoine Kelly had 20 points for the Bulldogs. Texas A&M pulls even with them in the standings. I find it funny that these teams are both in the top 5, but they're like not even top 2 in the conference. Vandy and Tennessee are both above them. Funny conference the SEC is. Speaking of those two teams, oh my God, I swear to God, it seems so rare to see a Tennessee actually beat Vanderbilt, but they did it. Number 1 team in the land actually defeats their rival at home by a comfortable margin. Brenton Edelson and Adrian Sutton both had 17 apiece. Randall Sellards had 24 points. The rest of the team, though, not as effective for Vandy. Tennessee grabs first place in the SEC for now. 13-2 in the conference, 22-3 overall. You love to see it if you're a Tennessee fan. If you're a Vandy fan, you probably don't like to see it. Next up, the rematch in the Mountain West sees Grand Canyon pay UNLV back with a road win over the Rebels. Ricky Dunn, great in this game with 18-9 and 4 assists. Howard Shears was solid with 14-9. Tobias Hamilton at 13-7 for the Rebels, but GCU just put the clamps on them. Simple as that. Needed this win because UNLV was ahead of them in the standings. Now it's a dead heat. I would assume UNLV is getting a lot of love for an at-large bid. I think they deserve that. GCU is a very good team, and they were able to take a game from them, so good for GCU. And we move on to a Big 12 matchup. You know, I got to give some credit to UCF. I think they're just a good team this year. Levi Shoke with 17, 3, 5, and 2 steals. Scotty Kelly with a double-double and 6 stocks. Great game for him. First time like all season West Virginia hasn't been carried by Edward Candlish in a game. Spencer Thomas is actually the guy this time. Yeah, they are. I feel like they should be like a 7 or an 8 seed, to be totally honest with you, but they're probably going to be like a 5. UCF though, I think they're. I don't remember if they were in the last bracketology, but if they aren't, that's kind of cruel, which is ironic considering what this team got into the tournament for before. But I think they're a solid team, one of the better ones in the Big 12 this year. Another ACC game. Oh man, Pitt actually showed up. Georgia Tech got victimized. Darius Ward Jr. was 17-7-6 on an efficient 8 of 11 shooting. Damon Pettiman was 16-7 and 2 blocks. David Veasley, leading scorer for the Yellow Jackets again in this one, but man, that was an ugly game for them. The battle of mid, if you will. And here's our Alabama State check. Close game here, but they get the win. Behind Jack Johnson and Tariq Ellis, Jamie Wilcox, longtime custom here at Florida A&M. He's one of the. I think he's challenging to be one of the top scorers in sim history. I'm pretty sure he's in the top 100 of it already. 17-7 for him. Famu falls just short of pulling the upset. Alabama State just kind of settling in as like that 3rd seed in the SWAC. Jackson State and Prairie View are both far ahead of them in the standings at this point. And our final game, top 10 matchup between Virginia and Duke, sees the Cavaliers pull out the win at home. 6-point victory for them. Cooper Johnson and Cedric Carnish, the leaders for the Cavs in this one. Martin Robertson had 11, 8, and 4 blocks for the Blue Devils. Not the guy you usually see leading the team. It's a close game either way. Virginia, though, just a little better. Mid light of the weakness they have at guard this year, but obviously they're still incredibly talented in the front court. Carnish is almost certainly going to be like a top 3 pick. Virginia gets it done. They are trying to hold on to second place in the ACC. NC State's right there with them. I don't think anyone's going to be catching UNC at this rate. And there we go. There's our final look at the top 25. Halfway through the last month of our season. And man, we got some interesting new arrivals in the top 25. New Mexico State. A team I was honestly I was fading them in the preseason. I was like, I don't know if they're the best team in their conference. But here they are. And San Diego State. A team that I was super high on coming into this season. I'm pretty sure I had them ranked too. That's very good for me. I sort of just wrote them off after they were like 7 and 4 or whatever. I was like, okay, well, this team's just not as good as I thought they were. I gotta say though, the polls love them some Texas A&M. 5-loss team, number 3. Creighton up to number 8. St. Mary's in the top 10. I love that Michigan's still ahead of USC in the polls. I love how Purdue is still ahead of USC in the polls. That one's crazy. I don't know how you can justify that. Like, how is USC not in the top 10? Like, what? NC State back in the top 20. Kentucky still being ranked is so crazy. Same with West Virginia, but they at least had like a winning streak recently that just got snapped. Grand Canyon really just sticking around in the top 25. That's special. Yeah, 40-minute stream. That's good enough for me. Got one more regular season stream. I'm gonna make that one pretty concise as far as like slides go, and we'll just look at the conference tournament brackets and the final standings and all that good stuff. Yeah, that team is just so gross. I don't know how they're grifted to be ranked still. 9-loss team. They're a so obviously limited 9-loss team as well. Their offense is not good. Yep, the rematch would be next stream. I believe Montana did drop a game finally, so Idaho is tied with them again. So winner of that game probably gets the regular season title in the Big Sky. That was going to be in Missoula. I'm pretty sure the first one was in Moscow, so. I'll probably cover it. It's a pretty important one. But yep, that's it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. Not sure when the next stream will be. I got a lot of like prep to do because I gotta get all the contest results tabulated, and then I gotta get the conference tournament pick thing set up. Might be a couple days at least. First one was in Missoula. All right. So it's at home for Idaho this time. Yeah, I'm only gonna. I'm not just gonna cover every like ranked game or everything. I got to see like actual like interesting result to cover these last ones. We're trying to get to the end, trying to get to the postseason. All right, that's it for me. Thanks everybody for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.